Hello friends, in this video we will be talking about bitcoins. The major question which hovers around people's mind in India is basically whether they should invest in bitcoins, or if they have already invested and they have sold bitcoins, what will be the tax impact in India, whether bitcoins investment in bitcoins is legally permissible. So in this video I will try to solve your problems, so please do watch the video till end. So starting with it, first we will talk about what is bitcoins. Bitcoin is a form of digital currency which is created and which is held electronically. So it's a digital currency, it's not a paper currency. One of the major risks which is associated with bitcoins is that no one controls it. So there's no organization, no department, no government which is controlling bitcoins. Like in India, the Indian currency, which is rupees, is controlled by the Reserve Bank of India, which is a government organization basically. So for bitcoins, there is no organization controlling it. Bitcoins are not printed like dollars or euros or rupees. These basically bitcoins are electronically created through computers. So it's a form of a cryptocurrency. So what makes it different from normal currencies? So bitcoins can be used to buy things electronically. So it's only electronically you can use bitcoins to buy certain things. So in that sense, it's like conventional dollars, euros or yen, which are also traded digitally. However, bitcoin's most important characteristics and which makes it different from conventional money is that it is decentralized. No single institution controls the Bitcoin network. So there's no institution which is controlling the network of Bitcoins. So going into the history of Bitcoins, the term or the Bitcoin or the Bitcoin, it was proposed by a software developer known as Satoshi Nakamoto. Now it was an electronic payment system basically which was based on mathematical proof. The idea it was to produce a currency independent of any central authority which was transferable electronically more or less instantly with very low transaction fees. So this idea of the software developer was to form an electronic system of payment in which there would be no central authority involved, and you could transfer the currency electronically with very low transfer fees or transaction fees. So if you think is whether these bitcoins are printed, it's not printed. So it's not printed. This currency isn't physically printed by any central bank. The rupee notes, they're printed in India by the Reserve Bank of India. So in bitcoins, they're not printed by any central bank. It is unaccountable to the population and it makes its own rules. So bitcoins are created digitally by a community of people that anyone can join. Bitcoins are mined using computing power in a distributed network. So it's basically a virtual currency. Bitcoins, they are virtual currencies. That is, you cannot touch that particular currency. Like you can hold a rupee note. When you get bitcoins, you cannot hold any bitcoin. So it's a virtual currency and it has its own payment networks. So bitcoins basically, they are not based on any particular object. So people using software programs which follow a mathematical formula, they produce bitcoins. So the mathematical formula for the production of bitcoins is freely available and anyone can check that particular formula. The software through which the bitcoins are generated or mined, it's also an open source, meaning that anyone can look into it to make sure that what it's supposed to do. Now when we talk about features of bitcoins, first is that it is decentralized. The Bitcoin network isn't controlled by any one central authority. Every machine that mines bitcoins and processes transactions makes up a part of the network through which these bitcoins are generated. It's easy to set up. Conventional banks, they make you jump through hoops simply to open a bank account. Setting up merchant accounts for payment is another very difficult task. But in case of bitcoins, no questions are asked, no fees payable. You can simply open an account and you can trade in bitcoins. It's anonymous because users can hold multiple Bitcoin addresses and they aren't linked to names and addresses. It is transparent to a certain extent. Transaction fees, they're very low. It's fast and it's non-repudiable. When Bitcoins are sent, there's no getting them back unless the recipient returns them to you. So if you give a Bitcoin to someone, even you cannot get them back until and unless the receiver of that Bitcoin provides that or returns it back to you. So it's not repudiable. Now, the value of Bitcoins or what determines the value of Bitcoins is basically the value is determined by what people pay for it. So it's basically this value it is based on certain mathematical theories and through the computers the value is determined by the sale and purchase of bitcoins determines the value of bitcoins. So demand is basically a demand and supply relationship. Now the most important questions in India whether bitcoins are acceptable or whether bitcoins will not be acceptable. So due to certain media reports which was printed in the Economic Times, interviews taken of the Finance Minister of India, Mr. Arun Jaitley, in which he said that Bitcoin is not a legal tender in India, and the government is awaiting a report from an expert on cryptocurrencies before taking any decisions regarding whether the Bitcoin investments and Bitcoin transactions would be termed as not legal or illegal in India. But he says that it's not a legal tender in India, that which means that you cannot use Bitcoins to purchase any object in India because it's not a legal tender. Now, what's a legal tender? Legal tender, like a rupee note, 500 rupee note, or a 2000 rupee note, it's a legal tender. That is, you can use that particular note to purchase any commodity in India. You can use a 500 rupee note, or a 100 rupee note, or 2000 rupee note to purchase any product in India. Similarly, the older 1000 rupee note or older 500 rupee note is not a legal tender in India. You cannot use if you have certain old notes of 500 and 1000 denomination. You cannot use those to purchase any product in India as of now or anywhere in the world. So they are not legal tender. So legal tender means that particular tender which you can use to purchase any product. So Bitcoin is not a legal tender in India, which means that you cannot use Bitcoins to purchase any product in India. Now the government has also cautioned investors to be very careful regarding virtual currencies, like because they are Ponzi schemes which no legal tender and there is no protection because there is no centralization of those schemes. It's a decentralized basically currency. There is no organization which controls bitcoins. So there is a very high risk of your investments being like a bubble, like your investments can be lost. So you have to be very careful if you invest in these bitcoins. Now, taxability, if you've already invested and now you've sold also. Now, if you as an individual invest or trade in cryptocurrencies like bitcoins, you have to pay taxes on gains which accrue from any cryptocurrency transactions. Now, most Bitcoin exchanges in India, they ask you to comply to the KYC processes before you start buying Bitcoins. Hence, all such exchanges have an access to your personal details like PAN numbers, bank account details, Aadhaar number, and they can provide those details to IT department in case of any kinds of scrutiny. Even if Bitcoins are not mentioned in Income Tax Act. Now, as per in the Income Tax Act, there is no mention regarding Bitcoins or any cryptocurrency. And there is no, even the government has not given any notifications or specified any regulations regarding the bitcoins. Though a committee has been formed and it's looking into this effect, and we expect a soon report regarding the taxability and other aspects regarding the cryptocurrencies. But as of now, as of today, there is no such regulation. So, as a professional, I would say that you have to disclose your investments in these cryptocurrencies of bitcoins because it would be like a capital gain if you accrue any gains accrue to you from such investments. Basically, it's like your asset. So if you get any gain from those bitcoins, you have to pay tax on them, and that would be a capital gain. It can be short term or long term depending on the period of your holding. So it's better to disclose the gains which arise from bitcoins, or else you can be in a big trouble. Now, why I'm saying this? Because on 13th of December 2017, the Income Tax Department, it conducted surveys at Bitcoin exchanges across the country, including exchanges in Mumbai, Pune, Bengaluru, Delhi, Hyderabad, and Gurugram. According to IT authorities, the survey was conducted to extract information about transactions, parties involved, and bank accounts used as the part of the authorities' broader efforts to profile and scrutinize assessees who pose a risk of tax evasion. So if you are an individual, you have invested in bitcoins, it's most likely that that information regarding your investment in bitcoins is with the IT department. So it's better to be on the safer side. Disclose the gains which you have made in bitcoins, disclose your investments, and be free from any action by the IT department, because the department is very serious regarding the gains made from the bitcoins and any such cryptocurrencies. Now, tax on bitcoins, it will be applicable depending on how you treat income from bitcoins based on the frequency of transaction. If gains from bitcoins is arising due to trading, that is, if your investments are very frequent, it will be treated as your business income. So if in your investments in bitcoins is such that you frequently invest in bitcoins, and it amounts as if it forms as if you are trading in bitcoins, so it appears to the department, to any normal person, that you are trading in bitcoins, you're frequently investing and then selling bitcoins, then such income which you get from such sale and purchase of bitcoins will be treated as your business income. Or if you invest in bitcoins and then you wait for the prices to rise and then you sell them, so it's not a frequent transaction, then it would be as your capital gains. Also it can be, or you can show them as income from other sources also. So suppose you buy and sell bitcoins regularly, then the gains from the sale of bitcoin will be business income and loss will be business loss. If you hold your bitcoins for a longer duration and then sell it, the profit would attract capital gains tax. Bitcoins will be treated as capital assets if you buy for investment purposes only. So if you hold bitcoins for not more than 36 months, the gains arising from it would be considered as short term. In case of short term gains, the gains from the sale of the price would be taxable at your applicable slab rate plus any surcharge if applicable and education cess. So short term capital gains, which would be taxable as any other short term assets only, short term capital gains on any other asset, and gains will be taxable at your the slab rate plus surcharge and education cess, etc. If your gains after holding bitcoins is more than 36 months, then it will be long-term capital gains and tax at 20% are the applicable plus the such as education cess with benefit of indexations also. So this is basically what we are suggesting our clients also regarding the bitcoin's taxability. So I would always tell you that do not withhold the information to yourself. You should disclose whatever investment you have made in cryptocurrencies, bitcoins. As of now, it is not illegal to invest, but if you withhold your investments, be ready to get a notice from the department at any time. Thank you. Please do like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for updates of the financial world. Thank you very much.